Smart homes can actually be pretty dumb. I'll give you an example. At night, I like to have my smart lights set at a lower brightness. But what about when it's the next day and I want to turn the lights on to full brightness? With a normal dimmer switch, I walk up to the switch and I turn it all the way up. Easy. With most smart lights, when you turn them on, they go right back to where they were when you turn them off. Now I turn up the brightness. That easy to use smart light just took 2 commands to get you going, and the old dumb switch could have done it in 1. But there is a better way, and that way is with scenes. First, let's talk about what a scene is. I use Apple HomeKit, so this video is going to be centered around that. But the concepts mostly will apply to other smart home platforms. Okay, so what is a scene? Think about the different configurations that you set up in your home. Maybe you haven't thought about it before, but you probably do a specific set of things before you eat dinner, for example. Or before you go watch TV or go to bed. Maybe to watch TV you turn off all the lights in the kitchen and turn on the ones in the living room. And then before you go to bed, you close the garage door and lock the doors. Those are all scenes. A scene is just a pre-configured set of smart home devices that you set up for specific situations. Obviously, you need to have the lights or locks or any of these devices as a smart home device already in order to make this work. I think you can probably see why you'd want to use scenes in your smart home setup. They can make it much easier and quicker to set your house up for a specific thing that you want to do. They can be as simple or as complicated as you can make them. For example, I have a scene that turns one light on in my kitchen. Using a scene is good here because it's not just about turning on that light. I want it to be at a specific brightness and a specific color. It's easier to set a scene than to turn the light on and set the brightness, or to tell your voice assistant to set it to full brightness. Especially with HomeKit because, well, Siri isn't that great, and actually the Home app is kind of bad. And also Siri can only handle 1 command at a time, so I can't just say, turn the light on and set it to this brightness. I have to do it with separate commands. With a scene, I can say, hey, HomePod, cooking, and it's set exactly how I want it with a single command. Not all lights are going to support color temperature or color, so what you can do will be limited by the devices that you have. I don't have any smart locks currently at my home, so I can't incorporate that into my goodnight scene that I set every night before I go to bed. So how are scenes set up in HomeKit? It's pretty straightforward. You go into the Home app and tap on the plus at the top of the screen. Here you can choose Add Scene. The Home app is going to suggest some pre-configured scenes, but I actually haven't found these useful for me, so you can tap Custom to make your own. You give it a name and then add all the accessories that you want incorporated into this scene. As I mentioned, this could be anything from turning every single light off or turning 1 light on. Once you have the accessories added, you have to configure what each device will do. And then on the bottom, there's a few options. You can test the scene, add or remove accessories, and then include it in favorites. Including it in favorites will just add the scene to the top of the front page of the Home app. Otherwise, it'll show up in the corresponding room pages. Like if I have a scene turning off the kitchen light and turning on the living room light, that scene will show up in the kitchen and living room pages. After that, you're all set. At any time, you can go back into a scene and add or remove accessories, rename it, or delete it. As you may have noticed, scenes can require a lot of investment to make them really work. Financial investment getting the devices, but also time investment setting everything up. The more devices you have connected, the more you can incorporate them into your scenes and daily routines. Now, everything I've gone over is based on the assumption that your devices are working normally also, which is not always the case. I mostly have Philips Hue lights and I would consider them fairly reliable, but sometimes there are issues, which means I may not be able to turn a light on for a few minutes. In my opinion, it's still worth it because the benefits outweigh that rare annoyance, but it's also something to keep in mind. These things aren't perfect. Getting to a point where you start to feel the benefits of a smart home can be a big hurdle, but the nice thing is you can gradually grow your smart home over time. I wouldn't say it's life-changing, but one of the primary functions of a smart home is to make things easier. And I also think it's fun. I enjoy adding more devices to my smart home, which enables me to be able to automate more and more and Scenes makes this easy.